Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? I'm a little short, so I'm going to put this down here. So, as she said, my name is Monica Parkman Corley. My dad was Bobby Parkman, who owned Appliance Service in Brandon for over 40 years. I grew up on College Street, about 7 or 8 driveways down from where I currently live. My mom is Barbara Martin. She's very involved in church and community still to this day in Brandon. I'm married to Stephen Corley, who is full-time in the Army, and so we have chosen to stay in Brandon all of these years because it's where I grew up. The sense of community here is obviously something that not just every city has. And so to be a city of the size of Brandon, to be able to maintain the sense of community that we have is something that's very special. And as I talk to people throughout the whole entire city, that's something that people always want to make sure that is preserved, and I agree with that completely. A little bit more about myself. I graduated from Brandon High School in 1989, so you can do the math and figure out about how old I am. But I have continued my education at Belhaven University with a bachelor's degree in business administration, and then I went on to obtain my master's degree from Mississippi College in educational leadership. I've worked for the Rankin County School District for over 22 years. Throughout that time, I've always been very active in different organizations, volunteer things, etc. And then I've been alderman in the city of Brandon now for Ward 1 for about 12 years. And I know that may sound like a long time, but keep in mind that as a new alderman, people spend a lot of time learning the complex and intricate details of just how everything works. And so I feel very comfortable in where I am in my career as alderman as far as being able to adequately serve everyone here, not just in our ward, but the city as a whole, because that's what each alderman does, is serves the city as a whole. So I get asked a lot of time, especially being in education, my students, other adults that I know see my signs and they say, by the way, what does an alderman do? And I felt like that was a really important question to take a moment to answer. An alderman, alderwoman, whichever term you'd like to use, is basically a representative of their ward. We're a voice, we're an advocate. Not everyone is comfortable contacting the mayor or the city or trying to get something done, or sometimes they do contact the city trying to get maybe a pothole filled or to get their drainage ditch addressed or something like that, and they just don't necessarily know the right way to communicate, or maybe there's an issue there, and so then they reach out to us and they contact us to be their voice and to be their advocate. And there are numerous people throughout our ward who can attest to the fact that I am constantly out meeting with my constituents when it comes to their issues concerning their drainage ditches and whether or not waste management has done what they were supposed to, or whether or not everything is flowing properly on our side of town. So we deal with issues like that. Obviously, we are the voting mechanism for city government. We are in charge of voting on policy and law for the city, helping to form the budget for the city, helping to determine the policies and the priorities of work for the city. And then, of course, the mayor executes the day-to-day work based on what we all discuss and plan out. So why I ran for alderman is something that I think is very important for people to know. I was one of those people who was a homeowner and a property owner, and there was a major problem at my home. There was a sinkhole that had formed in my yard and under my neighbor's driveway that was huge, and I kept hitting dead ends with my alderman at the time 12 years ago when it came to getting assistance. And that was obviously a problem that was way bigger than me. And so I reached out to my alderman at large at the time, since I was hitting a stop sign with my other alderman, and the alderman at large helped me, got the right city personnel out there. They were able to dig up, find the old drainage line that had been abandoned, that had duct tape over it from 25 years ago when that subdivision was developed and not done very well. And they were able to dig all of that up. They were able to fix it and make repairs and make everything new again. And that was when I knew that that was something that I wanted and needed to do. I needed to be a voice for people who had those types of issues, especially on their property. Homeowners and taxpayers obviously hold a special place in the city because they have got to have a voice for making sure that their property value is maintained and that they can get help on their property when they need it. So that is why I ran for alderman, and that is why I'm continuing to run for alderman as a way of serving people, but especially homeowners. So the next thing I would like to address is, who is Brandon? And who do we want Brandon to be? What do we want Brandon to be? We don't want to be Madison. Madison is wonderful. Madison is beautiful. But we don't want to be Madison because Madison is very cookie cutter. And we don't want to be that. Well, do we want to be Flowood, where we have all big box stores and retails? No, we don't want to be that either. Somewhere in the middle, there's this great combination of large and small, old and new. And that's where I see Brandon, is finding a good balance between all of those types of businesses that are here, not to mention maintaining that sense of community that I mentioned earlier, making sure that we continue to have a Christmas parade that the people from Flowood and Pearl want to come and watch because it's so fantastic. And other events like that, the Gumbo Festival, whatever it may be, those things that we do that define us as a small hometown feel, even though we're not so small anymore, those are the things that we want to make sure that we maintain. I have found that basically being here in Brandon, it's almost like owning an older home, which I can say I do. My home was built in '39, and we have renovated our home from top to bottom in the last 11 years that we've been there. And so it's like having an older home. You want to maintain the character of that older home, but you want to upgrade the structure in your home to reflect newness. But it shouldn't look new because it was built in '39. So you have to find a way to marry that old and that new. And that's what I see that we do in Brandon all the time. I feel like we have to make it a priority for maintaining property value in Brandon. I own a home, so I feel the importance of that. I don't know that everybody who is running for election here owns a home and knows what it means to protect the property value of homeowners and the people who pay taxes every day on their property. So I would encourage you to make sure before you vote for someone that you know where they stand on that. As far as accomplishments are concerned, I feel like my record speaks for itself. We have done tremendous things in the last 10 to 12 years. We have paved many roads. We have installed 2 new water tanks just recently. We've installed new water wells. We are in the process of rehabbing a lot of our city infrastructure. We have a plan for that moving forward. That's another thing I would encourage you, no matter who you're voting for, no matter what race it is, you ask your person that you're speaking to what is their specific plan for rehabbing the infrastructure of this city. If they don't have one, and if they can't answer that, then you need to reconsider your plan to vote for that person. So we have a plan for that. We, being the mayor and the current board, we have that mapped out. We understand how important it is to continue doing things that are pro-Brandon, that will continue to attract businesses here. That is something that's very important. The rehab that we have done over the last many years in Parks and Rec, where we are now attracting huge tournaments. There were 149 teams in Brandon last weekend. Not people, 149 teams in Brandon last weekend doing tournaments. That's phenomenal. Those people are spending their money here. They're stopping at our restaurants. They are spending their tax dollars here, and then they go home afterwards, and we reap the benefit of that. That is huge. That's important, and we want to continue that work. So again, why should you vote for me? I have a proven track record. I also practice transparency. The whole city does. We've begun live streaming our meetings. You can always contact us. My phone number is on our city website, as it should be. I am truly characterized and described as someone of great strength and tenacity. I feel like I'm a bulldog, and anyone who knows me can attest to that, because when I go after something, I'm going to go after it 110%, and I will not stop until the right thing has happened. I have vision for the future of this city, and most importantly, I still maintain a servant's heart, just like I've always had and will continue to have for all of the citizens in Ward 1 and in the city of Brandon. So I ask you for your vote on June the 8th. Thank you.